Hello, fellow cycling fans. I'm Georgia, and welcome to my preview of World Championships 2025 men's road race in Kigali, Rwanda. A race I've been looking for so much, maybe even the most all season long. 267 kilometers along the hills in this African country. I'm going to present the route. We're going to check the major climbs, potential tactics from the top teams, their squads. We're also going to revisit last year's race, and in the end, as always, I will pick my winner of this race. So let's start with the route. There is a total elevation of more than 5,500 meters. There are some estimations that it's even more than 6,000, but let's focus on being more than 5,500. So first we are doing 9 local circuit loops, starting here near the Congress Center where we had the finish of the time trial, going slightly downhill to the north here across this Kigali golf climb, then a short downhill before going to the Côte de Kimi Uhura, 1.3 kilometers at around 7%. That is the cobble climb. It goes to 1 kilometer to go, but then it continues to go uphill all the way to the finish line. So 9 blue circuits. Then we are moving on to the red loop. It is around 40 kilometers, but this extension part is around 27.5 kilometers. I checked that on Google Maps. So we are using the same blue road, then going on to the Côte de Péage, basically also the same climb that we also already saw in the time trial to that roundabout, then a long drag all the way to this climb Mont Kigali. It crests some 100 kilometers to the finish. That is really important to remember. I will talk about this climb a lot. It can play the crucial part in this race. Then downhill, short cobble climb called Mur de Kigali, and then back onto the blue loop where we do another 6 laps. So the local circuit or the blue lap is around 15 kilometers long, and it has these two climbs. Got the Kigali Golf around 800 meters at 8.1%. The steepest part in the beginning some 12.5%, and Côte de Kimi Ura, the cobble climb is steepest once again in the beginning, but only 9.6, not even 10%, and then it is a long uphill drag all the way to the finish. So the total elevation in this loop is around 340 meters. The extension circuit has those two climbs, Mont Kigali and Mur de Kigali. This Mont Kigali is the biggest climb in the race, some 6 kilometers at around 7%, but a really steep near the end in the final kilometer, 13.5%. I think that the attacks will happen here for sure, even though it is 100 meters before the finish. Something just has to happen on this climb. And then on this small Mur de Kigali at 300 meters, I can also see some attacks happening, maybe even from the smaller teams or with those riders in the second and third tier of favorites. This is a great opportunity for them to escape if the top teams are out of domestiques, and the total elevation in this part of the extension circuit is around 500 meters. Now I usually look at the bookmakers odds in the end of the video, but this time I wanted to do that first because Tadej Pogačar is the overwhelming favorite at 1.5, and if this was a team's race where he would race with his UAE team Emirates, then for sure I can understand these odds. They can control this kind of terrain easily and then let Pogačar do his magic in the final or penultimate lap. But with his Slovenian team, it is not so straightforward, and that is why we need to remember what happened in 2024. So how exactly did he win in 2024 in Zurich? If you watch this race and you remember correctly what happened, then you can skip to the next part of the video, but I want to address these 4 points. First, he had to use his team to the maximum, and he fully did that. They controlled the race from the get-go, but on the loops in the Zurich, they were getting depleted. He was only there with Tratnik, Novak, and Pogačar, and Novak was already almost completely spent. So what did they do? They sent Tratnik in a breakaway. That leads us to the second point. He needs to create separation at the perfect time. Of course, this perfect time is the most important thing in cycling, but this time it happened at around 100 kilometers to go. He launched his attack, surprising Remco and Matthew van der Poel. They didn't have time to respond. They didn't expect that. And then we move on to next point. Use Group 2 syndrome to your advantage. Once he created the separation, it was up to Belgium and Netherlands or other teams to chase him. And then they start arguing who is going to chase, who is going to control the group. And once they are out of teammates, then no one wants to pull. They start attacking each other, and the gold medal is gone. And of course, the final fourth point is hold on to your lead. That is probably the most important and the hardest, but with Pogačar, he did that last year. So how did he use his team? Well, instead of using Tratnik to control this really strong group with De Plus, Cattaneo, Kort, Sivakov, Stevie Williams, Jay Vine, Kevin Vermeijke, Staunemitted, and Lipovic, no, they sent Tratnik in a breakaway. That was the most important decision in last year's race. That was 121 kilometers from the finish. Then at 100 kilometers to go, here it says Primož Roglic pulling in peloton. I really can't remember if Roglic indeed pulled in the peloton. I remember he was at the front of the peloton, but did he really pull? I don't remember. Then Pogačar attacks. Only Andrea Bajoli follows. He has Tratnik waiting for him. Then pulling in the group in the breakaway. Belgium, they needed like 5 kilometers to organize the chase. Tratnik was pulling as much as he could, and then at 50 kilometers to go, Pogačar goes solo, and they never see him again. He gets the gold medal. And we can see how Group 2 syndrome was his advantage. Campenaerts, he starts pulling at 96 kilometers to go, so they needed 4 or 5 kilometers to organize the chase, and with 72 kilometers to go, Belgium was out of domestics. Remco Evenepoel attacks because he has no one in the group to work for him. Matthew van der Poel goes along, he covers him. They spend a lot of energy, they start arguing, and Pogačar is once again gone. Maybe he wasn't the strongest, I think he was, but he didn't win by sheer power. He won by using brains and great tactics. So let's now check Slovenia's squad for this race. They have 9 riders, one more than last year because Pogačar has the free entry as the world champion. Primož Roglic once again in the team. Last year I didn't really see him helping a lot. If he is willing to sacrifice himself for Pogačar, then Pogačar's chances rise dramatically. But if he is here for his own, then uh, it is not an easy run for Slovenia. They have Mohoric instead of Tratnik, Novak, Mezgec, Govekar, Garglivar. He is the addition to the team from last year, and then Jaka Primožić and Matic Žumer. Okay, Primožić and Žumer, they can bring the bottles, bring gels, candy bars. I don't want to disrespect those guys. It is such an unselfish act to even come to world championships to work for your leader. At the end of the day, no one really remembers you, but you did all you could. You sacrificed yourself. This is basically his free time. There is no races on Sunday in the world. So major props to all the guys that come to work for the leaders. But okay, you can't really expect them to do anything. Glivar, Govekar, Mezgec, they can control the breakaway in that early laps on the first local circuit, but then once it gets hard, then it's up to Novak and Mohoric to step up. Just two guys for more than 100 kilometers. It's really hard. They need to find something new from last year. Now I think everyone will expect Pogačar to go that early with even 100 kilometers to go. So what can Slovenia hope for? Well, if they can get to the local circuit with at least one helper, and that is Primož Roglic, then I think Pogacar's chances are good. But if he is alone, then it's really hard to see him repeating his success of last year. Once the attack starts rolling, he can't cover everything, and then just when one guy goes away, then the gold is gone, I think. Second major team is Belgium. Obviously, Remco Evenepoel is the leader. This is actually a great team to control the breakaway. They did Kampernice, Van Wilder, Hermans, Maurice, Utebrooks, Vermeers and Verweyck instead of Benoit, who has COVID. But they are not really that great for attacking. If, let's say, Hermans or Utebrooks end up in a winning breakaway, then I don't really fancy their chances of winning the gold in a strong breakaway group. So they have to control everything for Remco, but he shouldn't work for Pogacar. He needs to create that separation. What I talked about last year. Surprise Pogacar. Go early. Go even earlier than Pogacar if it is possible on among Kigali. That is the perfect opportunity, but still it's really hard to see Remco creating separation from Pogacar. In the end, I can easily see those two guys marking each other and then maybe even getting out of medals. But still, Remco is the second favorite. If the two of them get the separation, I think they will actually work together. All the other guys, will they really work with Pogacar in the end? I don't think so. But still, with medals up to grabs, if it is one guy or two from UAE team Emirates, then I can see them working. But in a big group of four, five, six guys, I don't think that anyone will work with Pogacar. Now Australia is a really nice team, attacking with Hamilton, Harper, Hindley, Matthews, Plapp, Scottson, Stoddard, and Jay Wine. All those guys, I can see them getting the medal and going maybe even really early with, let's say, Luke Plapp or Calum Scottson. Why not? Go in an early breakaway, put pressure on Belgium and Slovenia, then let's say drill it on Monkigali and send Hindley or Storer or Vine in a breakaway. If they can get in a good move, then why not? They can get even the gold medal. So Australia, keep an eye on them. I think they have the team that will get at least one medal. Ben O'Connor, he was the bronze medal last year, and I think they can even go higher this time around. Now we're moving on to Team Chaos. It's France. They have 8 riders. All can win this race. Alaphilippe, Barret, Bernard, Jegas, Madua, Parepintre, Sexa, and Sivakov. I think they just need to get in every move possible, maybe even from the start. Madua, he loves these kind of races. Alaphilippe, a multiple world champion. Parepintre, Sexa, Sivakov, all riders capable of medaling here. I expect them in every move, as well as Italy with Ciccone, Pellizzari, Bagioli, Fortunato, Frigo, Cattaneo, Sobrero, Masnada. Maybe even one team can risk it and try to pace full gas on Monkigali, try to drop everyone from Slovenia and then attack Pogacar. That is probably the best tactics in this race, but who is going to be willing to sacrifice its riders in a race like this? A many can take the medal or even win it. Another team that can do the same as Italy and France is Spain with Ayuso, Balderstone, fresh from Vuelta, Soler as well, Romeo, Verona, Canal, Roja Adria, Raul Garcia Pierna. They will be in every move too. So Spain, Italy, France, when they go, you need to go as well. And finally, let's look at the riders that need to get in a perfect move. They don't have a lot of teammates. Del Toro for Mexico, Ben Healy for Ireland, then Carapaz for Ecuador, Arensman for Netherlands. UK has two options in Pidcock and only. Colombia just has Egan Bernal. Norway has Leknesund. USA with Simons and then Denmark with Skjelmose. They need to make it stick. They will probably save it for a bit later in the race, back when we get to the blue or a local circuit once again. So, having said all that, let's get back to the bookmakers odds, and I finally pick my winner. I don't think that it's going to be Pogačar once again. It's just too hard to see him do the same thing 2 years in a row. Remco Evenepoel, I think he will be locked with Pogačar, so no gold medals for them. Who is going to be my pick? Well, that's going to be one certain Spanish rider, and that is Juan Ayuso. They have a great team. They're going to push like crazy in every move. Juan Ayuso will be in the move that sticks. He has a good sprint in the end on that cobble climb, and he wins this race. A silver medal once again for Team UAE Emirates. I have Jay Wine, and then for bronze I have one certain Mr. Richard Carapaz. Of course, I can be very wrong. Pogacar and Remco can get gold and silver. Also, watch out for Primož Roglic. If he is in good form, if he is here to help Pogacar, then Pogacar can win. If Primož Roglic is here for himself, then I think that will be Slovenia's downfall. That is all for this long preview. I really hope you enjoyed it. Give me a like if you did. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a preview in my channel. Have a great day and enjoy this road race. Bye!